Hello, Gemini. Welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor, and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. All right, Gemini. Tonight we have the Queen of Wands. She is fortified, all right? This is a lady that has been through lifetimes of ordeals. In one little lifetime, she is one that has survived, but not only survived, she has thrived. Look at her. She's beautiful. She's ablaze. She's gorgeous. She has her gorgeous cat, who also has changed over time. And so we are in the furnace of fire, but also that illuminating light. We are in that flow of creativity. This is an energy that warms, but it can also scorch. So when you are around the Queen of Wands, when you are in her presence, when she might even just kind of be in the same room, but way over there, you still feel her. And you know you have to treat with the utmost respect. Because this is somebody that it feels like they've been alive for millennia. Now, you might not meet people like this that often. In fact, you might only meet them once or twice in your life. But this is somebody, they almost feel like they're not of this world because they are so much of it. They've been so many things. You can see that they've transmuted themselves over and over again. And so this might be you. This might be a metaphor. It might be somebody that you actually know. Maybe it's your partner. Maybe you work with them. Maybe, it's your mom, your kids. Who knows? We're going to see. We're going to find out. Let's take a look. Oh my goodness. I have to tell you, we have been through this heat wave. It's still hot, not as hot today. Oh, I'm going to lift this thing up. But my goodness, yesterday we thought it was very, very smart to go on an outing with a group of people. And I won't say where we went exactly, but it was an amusement park, okay? So, somewhere there was an amusement park that we went to, and it was like 100 degrees outside. It was so hot. I feel burnt out. I didn't get burnt, thankfully, but it sucked every little ounce of life out of me yesterday. I came home, I got a couple of chores done, I got everybody ready for bed, laid down. Next thing I knew, I was waking up to do some more chores in the morning. Anyways, I'm so happy to see you. Thank you for being here, Gemini. I love you. I love you. I love you. Now, if you want to subscribe, or leave a comment, that would be most welcome. I love hearing all about your lives, whatever's going on with you. If you have a prayer request, please put it in the comment section. My husband over at Devon Serpent Tarot, we do a lot of praying for people and sending out energies, appealing in your honor on your behalf. I'm happy to do that. So you could put it there, or if you want to send it over to ulaishere@gmail.com. I know some things are sensitive and you don't want to put them out in the public view, so you can email them. Anyways, let's get going. Let's take a look. So it looks like I feel like there are family members that are really tall in your family. I get this feeling that maybe you're like the short one, or maybe it's vice versa. Maybe you're the tall one and everybody else is really short. And I wonder why is that important? It seems like it's something that really is on your mind sometimes. But we have 2 dogs. We have one here and one here, and you can see this one is interesting. The head is here, and there's the eye, and the nose would be in here. Kind of side profile looking this way. We have 2 people. Okay, now this taller one has birds kind of landing. Now this one is running. So I almost kind of feel like maybe this is like siblings, or maybe like a cousin, or you have like an aunt or uncle that is around your age. But this feels like a peer. Surrounded by real deep loyalty. So I feel that you got along, or you get along really well. This is like your person. You're still, I feel that you're still very close, but I almost feel that there's this sense of one of you being quite impulsive. I feel like one of you was more like athletic, and the other one really like interested in maybe the sciences, animals, plants, kind of like communing with the world around you. So I'm imagining that maybe this is you, because it does feel to me, it feels like, as I look at this, it's like I see you being more in this like peaceful garden kind of environment, or maybe even like a barn, or doing something intuitive but also repetitive. So that leads me to believe that it is something like gardening. You're doing the same things over and over, like weeding and watering and, pruning and all these kinds of activities, but you have to do it with intuition. I mean, of course, you also have to know what you're doing and look for the signs, but I think that you are very connected in this way. Now, this person that you have this attachment to, I see just almost like, and I think playing soccer, I don't know, maybe something like that, or maybe they're a soccer football fan. Just very kind of, I think this feeling of like being loud and boisterous and excited about stuff, but also at the same time having like very low lows, very high highs, low lows. And I think this is where we're getting around to. I feel like you feel like the keeper of this person. Now, I don't think that it's like so much a dynamic where you're like, I have to take care of my brother, that's like your whole identity, or that's your whole purpose in life, or even that they need that much help. But I think that just being there, that's what it feels like. Like you are very serious about your loyalty to family and to being, to showing up, right? To doing whatever you need to do to help. And I feel like recently, at least, that there must be some kind of interference in trying to communicate, getting through to them. And I feel like that's where there is some rising anxieties. I think that there's a real feeling of I can't get through to them. And I don't know if that's like literally they won't answer their phone, their voicemail is full, they changed their phone number, they haven't been calling back in the last couple months, or, just kind of I don't feel like it's a sharp change in behavior, but there's been a gradual detachment. And I don't know what is feeling that, but I feel that for you, that's worrisome. And I also feel like you miss your friend, your sibling, your partner. And so I want to keep going here. I want to turn this. Now, it feels like you've been having nightmares. That's it. That's for sure. We have a bed. We have another bed here, and like a face. It looks like an apparition. Here are the eyes and the nose and the mouth, and kind of looming over this bed, or it looks like this. To me, it looks like a series of the same place, like a comic books, right? Where sleeping, and all of a sudden, almost like a sleep paralysis with the arms up, the apparition above, and then trying to sit up and thinking like, what the heck, right? In this kind of, distorted, everything's kind of scary and warped feeling kind of energy that you get when you have a night terror or nightmare or whatever. I feel like you've been on just this verge of panic a lot lately. I feel like you're doing everything within you not to succumb to it. You're not alone. I think a lot of us are in a place where we're having a lot of very real anxiety, or anxiety about very real things in our lives, but also existential. I mean, you don't even have to be watching the news, really. It's just, I feel like collectively, we are very in tune with the fact that right now we're at a very important moment in humanity. However we go forward collectively, it's gonna be an important journey forward. I mean, basically, whatever way it goes, it's gonna be important. So I do feel like a lot of us have that background anxiety just absolutely turned up, right? So it makes sense that there's a openness, a vulnerability, and, room for these kinds of, and I'm not going to say this is like psychic attack. I don't think it's anything like that. I don't think this is intentional, at least not in the sense that you are being singled out. But I do feel like it is like this psychic distortion that is happening. And I feel that you are having, these intense dreams. Now, this is tied very much to the situation going on in your life, right? Your anxieties about your relationships, I think, is a big factor here. But, also generally not really knowing what's going to happen next. And I think usually you're pretty good, and this is why I think maybe you find this to be kind of surprising for you. Usually you're pretty good with like whatever happens. I'm just going to kind of go along with, whatever. I'm going to make the best of things. And Geminis are usually really good at that, right? But I think this time around, it really is kind of feeling quite overwhelming. Now, don't forget yourself. We have this Queen of Wands energy. You are fortified, my friend. Like, you're good. But I want to see. So we have a key. We have a person with a balloon. So it feels like we have some younger children in the family. Your family might be going through like that wave of, when the kids or grandkids start even great grandkids, they start having their own kids, right? And then it's like you start with the one grandkid, and then all of a sudden, like 2 years later, you have 4 grandkids. So I think that your family is starting to go through this kind of wave of younger children being born into, well, of course they're going to be younger, but yeah, there's more younger children, and so this is the key to life. I feel like for you, at least the thing to unlocking where your attention is going to be, where life feels very oppressive right now in a lot of ways, chaotic. There's a lot of unknowns, a lot of discomfort, a lot of fear, and a lot of suffering. But on the other hand, there are also a lot of things to be grateful for. And I'm not going to sit here and do they want us to, or they are doing this, or they are doing that, whoever they might be. I'm not naive and think there is no they or there is nothing happening. Of course. There are a lot of layers of influence and intentions, right? But I am of the mind that this cycle, not just for Gemini, but for all of us, this is a time of rebellion. This is a time of standing against the tide. This is a time where we pull ourselves up. We look this thing in the face and we start focusing on our personal lives. We start focusing on where we can change things. Whatever that looks like for you. Whatever your ideals are, whatever your beliefs are, however you want your life to look, the world to look, to feel, to be. We all have these abilities to change the way that we experience life. Now, we might not be able to change all the details or the variables, but when we get down to business and we start working on ourselves and we are healing and we are building up and we are transmuting and integrating and individuating and, making magic, being with God, the divine, goddess, sciences, whatever it is, learning, knowing how to do things, being handy, being in a place of power in your own life. That is not a life squandered. I'm not saying that you have to be some Renaissance person, like some Da Vinci, right? You don't have to be the master of, 30 different skills. But we should know how to do things. We should empower not only the kids in our lives, not only the people around us, but ourselves. How do we do that? By learning, by experiencing, by loving and feeling things and finding reasons to get up and be excited. I don't know about you, but I am such an oppositional person. When somebody tells me, Lenor, you can't do that. Look at where you came from. Look at what you've done. Look at how you lived your life. You can't do that. Dude, watch me. Watch me. And you know what? I feel like this is where we're going. This is where we're going. A lot of us. And I think that's why we find each other, right? I really believe that. I really believe that we find each other because we have this mutual work to be doing. And what is that? I don't want to sound cheesy or new agey or whatever, but it is. We are raising the collective. We are working together as a network of people to do what? Heal ourselves. To take care of each other. Take care of ourselves. For maybe the first time in most of our lives. Some of us, we've never prioritized ourselves. We've been stuck in survival for too long. Or, thinking that we have to serve something that does not serve us. No, not any longer. We're here to do some change, to do some transmutation, to I don't know, not squander what we have. Now, I feel that we have somebody in your life who, I feel like I wonder if you've dated, if you have had kind of a close and physical relationship and all of that, but this person, you either don't take them seriously or they don't take you seriously, or it kind of is back and forth. You both don't really take each other seriously. Now, I feel though that in this last period of time, there has been like this person caught feelings for you kind of deal. And I feel like there's almost this sense of, well, and I'm looking at this, to me it reads just exit, exit, exit. Obviously it's not in order, but exit, you're trying to get away from them. And here we go. We have the horse running. We have the person standing here with the heart, like they're uttering the heart. And I think that all of a sudden it's kind of this, I'm in love with you. And I don't know why or what it is about that it makes you feel kind of unsafe. And I don't know if they're just like really intense or if it's kind of like a situation where maybe you are in a relationship and this is like somebody, I don't know, like you work with them and you've been nice and you enjoy like the banter and you maybe even kind of, I don't know if you have a crush, but you just enjoy talking to them, and you made that terrible mistake of being too nice and too available to talk to for 2 minutes at a time or whatever. And now this person's like, all of a sudden they think something's there. Now, it feels like it's a threat all of a sudden. Like all of a sudden we went from being cool and like we can talk to now you think you're in love with me. And I have a family or something at home. So I feel like if you can imagine that kind of, what do I do here? And we, of course, we all immediately want to say, you just got to be clear with them. This isn't a thing. This, whatever. But that's not always a privilege that people have, right? Sometimes, and it depends on the factors, of course, of the person and the context, the situation. But sometimes, you have to be careful. You don't know how somebody is going to react, and you have to see this person every day. So I feel like you find yourself in a situation that feels, and I'm not saying that's exactly what it is, but it is kind of like I can't clearly see which way to go here because I'm extremely uncomfortable. So I do see you kind of trying to get yourself away from this situation, making some room. Okay, which, you know what, I feel like you're pretty amazing at reading people and knowing how to interact with people. I feel like you understand human nature probably more so than most people, and you're really good at socializing, right? And, people, you might hear this and think, well, all people probably know how to deal with others, and have exchanges that are productive and safe and I don't know, respectful on both sides. And that's not always true. There's a lot of people out here that the skill of being a social being is one that, maybe they lack for whatever reason, There's a lot of us that we just, I'm neurodivergent, for instance, and I don't always know what the right course of action is or what is appropriate to say to somebody. And you might see that in my readings a lot. I go in places that, maybe make people uncomfortable. I might have takes on things that seem a little strange or whatever, or not what you would do. And that's okay. I feel that way a lot too as well, but yeah, I think this is a situation where you have to really listen to yourself and be careful. I'm not trying to make you afraid. I don't think that this is I don't feel that there's anything negative happening necessarily. The only thing I feel is your anxiety about it. And so I think that the emphasis here is on, practicing how are you going to go forth, right? Practicing maybe setting those boundaries, sticking to those boundaries, maybe practicing, figuring out how to do those kind of mental and social gymnastics to get out of a situation like this where it's not going to be, a whole ordeal. So, the other thing I have to say, and I say this as a mother, I say this as a person that has lived their life as a woman, make sure that you let people know in your life what's going on, right? Don't feel like it's something that you shouldn't mention, or it's not that important. I'm not going to, call my mom and tell her about what this weird dude at work is saying or doing or whatever. It's okay to, sometimes appear to be overreacting because you never know. You just never know. You never know. And I'll tell you what, when my daughter gets to be older, she's only 5 right now, but I don't care if she sends me, 20 texts in a day where she's just, I feel this certain way about this, or I don't know about this, or Mom, what do you think about it? Please. I don't care if it's completely silly, absurd stuff. Let me know what's going on with you. I want to know, and I feel like any mom would want to know. Or family member or friend, and, so let people know, okay? Let people know. We're in a world where we cannot just be holding this stuff in. And I say this as somebody who also, like, I worked in restaurants for years, mostly, and not like nice places where people were always behaving well. I was working in like diners and stuff. And, okay, our first lucky number is number 71. And, people act all types of ways. And so, you have to be careful with people. 65, number 65. You never know. You never know what somebody's capable of. 77. So, just watching out, watching yourself, and letting people know. Like, listen, this person made me feel uncomfortable, whatever it is. Yeah. So, let's see. Now, we're going to do our wild bohemian affirmation cards, and we're going to just flip through, stop where it feels right. And it says, number 25, I am divine truth. You are a magnetic creator and alchemist. Embody the potent power of gratitude. Yes. I love it. All right. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. I'm going to take a little drink of water. A little sip of water there. I need a nap. I need a nap before I go to bed for the night. My goodness, that heat really, and it's so humid where I'm at. So humid. That's the thing, is I was just sweating yesterday so much that I just feel burnt out. Absolutely burnt out. So anyways, thank you for putting up with me, Gemini. I love you. I love you. I love you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. If you want to like, subscribe, or leave a comment, I'd love to hear from you. Other than that, we can talk in just a few days from now. And we'll see. We'll see where we're going with things. All right. Good night. Take care of yourself. Goodbye.